Hey everyone, welcome to Websleuths YouTube Live. My name is Trisha Griffith. I manage websleuths.com, a fabulous true crime discussion forum. And the two cases that we're covering tonight, we have a great discussion going on both cases. And I'll be putting the links to those cases in the discussion, or in the chat, I should say. And we'll put it in the description as well. Okay, tonight, a little bit later on, we're going to talk about Nancy Guthrie. Brian Entin is back into town, and everybody's like, okay, does he know something that we don't know? Is he back in Arizona because something's going to happen? I don't know. I hope so. I certainly hope so. But we'll have to wait and see. And anyway, he does a great video where he shows the doors that Savannah talked about being propped open in the back. Why were the doors propped open in the back? And then out the front door on the front porch, there were little blood spatters, like from a bloody nose. It's very strange. And so we're going to get into that tonight. And also tomorrow morning in Florida, Joseph Duggar has a hearing. Now, in my short that I did, I said Joshua Duggar. I'm sorry. To me, they look alike, and now they're very similar. Well, one's an alleged criminal, but yeah, it is the younger brother, Joseph, that is going into a hearing tomorrow. It will be live streamed. Okay, we'll have it on websleuths.com. I don't think it's going to last very long, but I thought tonight it would be good to go back to the Megyn Kelly interview. This was the bombshell interview. And then we're going to play a couple of clips from the old 19 and counting, whatever the hell variation it was. Some clips that just didn't age well, aged like milk in the sun. They're really bad. But this interview by Megyn Kelly, it had so much bad stuff in it about the Duggars. It's Jim Bob and Michelle, and they're making all these excuses for Josh. We're going to get into it here. Let me bring up Stacy, our executive producer. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. And let's bring up Lil Texan. She is our Duggar Digger. How are you, my dear?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. And I really appreciate you coming on tonight. This is kind of last minute, and you're always so great, because you are like the Duggar encyclopedia. But remind us about this interview with Megyn Kelly. It's when she had her show on NBC, and we can't play the whole thing, obviously, but it's really, really interesting. Give us some of the highlights, and then we'll start playing it here right away.
Sure. So this happened when Jill and Just Accounting On was still on the air. And so this was the point when Jim Bob was desperate to save the show because of everything that was coming out about Josh at the time. And so it was kind of just this sad interview where Jim Bob and Michelle were trying to defend Josh's molestation of four of his sisters and an additional unknown victim, and minimize all of that, downplay it. And then Jessa and Ginger were, from what we know from sorry, not Ginger, Jill, Jill's book. She was basically, they weren't exactly voluntold, but it was an expectation that they would come on to this interview and they would defend their brother. And what we did find out from Jill's book, that was a revelation years later, was that the whole time they did this interview with Megyn Kelly, they're talking to them about these terrible things, Josh was in the next room. He never spoke on camera. No one mentioned that he was there.
Right.
He certainly never took any accountability, apologized publicly, or did anything, in his own defense. So two of his victims, two of his younger sisters, had to go on and try to defend him, and it was all basically to try to save the show.
Yeah, that's all this was just absolutely just try and save the show. And so, yeah, it didn't work. It did not work. So we're going to play a little bit here from Megyn Kelly's, and we're going to stop it and talk and discuss, and then we'll get up to current time here in a little bit. But I think it's really important that we go back on the memory train and remember this horrific interview from Megyn Kelly. It wasn't Megyn Kelly's fault. It was Jim Bob and Michelle, and they were just horrible. So let's get this on the road. Let's get this show on the road. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
2002. How did you first learn that there was a problem with Josh?
Well, 12 years ago, we went through one of the most darkest times that our family's ever gone through. And our son, Josh, came to us on his own, and he was crying. And he had just turned 14. And he said that he had actually improperly touched some of our daughters. And it was...
We were shocked. I mean, we were just devastated. I don't think any parent is prepared for trauma like that. And I think we had one ray of hope in that Josh had a tender conscience, and he was the one that came and shared on his own, even though the others really didn't know anything of his wrongdoing.
This is a young boy who has come to you with shocking information. What did he say? I mean, how did you respond to him? What was that like, that exchange?
There was so much grief in our hearts. I think as parents, we felt, we're failures. You know, here we tried to raise our kids to do what's right, to know what's right. And yet one of our children made some really bad choices. And I think as a parent, we were devastated.
Did he explain why? I mean, was that a question that you asked?
He said he was just curious about girls, and he had gone in and just basically touched them over their clothes while they were asleep, and they didn't even know he had done it. Mm-hmm. And so we went, and the first thing was to protect the girls. And so we went in.
The girls all slept together?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the girls had 2 bedrooms at the time. But anyway,
how many girls were we talking about?
We had 5 girls at the time.
Okay.
And so, but anyway, he went in and said he had done this. And so we, first off, of course, really talked to him. And then we went and talked to all the girls and children.
It was so important for us as parents to talk to our girls and make sure that nothing else had happened. And so
what did they say?
Well, one by one, as we talked with them, none of them were aware of Josh's wrongdoings.
So they learned about it from you?
Yeah.
Yes.
How, at that point, he had said that he had done this to how many of the girls?
That was to 2.
Okay. And so, but neither one had any recollection of it?
They did not know.
And what was their reaction when they learned it from you?
They really didn't know. Actually, what happened was we asked them at first if anything happened, and then it was after some other things happened that we actually shared with them. And but we took a lot of steps. And first we tried to deal with this in-house as parents. We were in shock, and we were trying to figure out what was the next step. But really, looking back, we did the best we could under the circumstances.
You're saying, what am I going to do? You're saying, he says he's touched 2 of the daughters, and you don't know what to do, right?
We didn't know, because at that point now, nobody knew about it, and besides Michelle and I and Josh. And so we thought, what do we do with this information? And the girls, we talked to them, and they didn't know that anything had happened because they were asleep. And so we talked to him. We put all kinds of punishments on him. We watched him like all the time. Mm-hmm. I took him to work with me, and we just poured our life into him.
Were you scared? Like when you went to bed at night during that time frame, were you scared? Were you worried? You know, he's 14, he's having this problem. What's going to happen when we go to sleep?
Right. Nothing ever happened like that again in the girls' bedrooms after that. Okay. So we had safeguards that protected them from that. Mm-hmm. But there was another incident where, 2 different incidents where girls were like laying on the couch, and he had touched over the couch and actually touched the breast while they were asleep. And so, over the clothes. And so it was a very difficult situation. But as we talked to other parents and different ones since then, a lot of families have said that they've had similar things happen in their families. And so, I mean, this is, for us, of course, this is public shame that our son did this back 12, 13 years ago.
And when you heard that the behavior had resumed, describe what that was like for you.
We thought, at first that Josh, was on the road to mend, at first, but he was still a kid, and he was still a juvenile. He wasn't an adult. And so there was a couple more times that he came and told us what he had done, and we were just devastated. Now, all these, again, this was not rape or anything like that. This was like touching somebody over their clothes. There were a couple incidents where he touched them under their clothes. But it was like a few seconds. And then he came to us and was crying and told us what happened. And it was after that third time he came to us is where we really felt like, you know what, we have done everything we can as parents to handle this in-house. We need to get help. And that's actually when we went to outside folks and we asked some very close friends if they could come over. And some of my best friends came over. We talked about it. And so at that point, we pulled Josh out of the home. And we knew of a man who mentored young men. And he really helped young men who had made unwise choices in their lives to get straightened out. And he was running a little training center in Little Rock, Arkansas. And under the roof of that training center, you had Little Rock Police Department on one side, and you had a prison ministry on the other. And he said Josh could come down there. And
Lil Texan, isn't that the guy that eventually ended up in prison for CP as well?
Yes.
That he's talking
so.
about?
I think so. If it's not him, this is all around the same time.
Yeah. And I said when she was on NBC, Megyn Kelly, my apologies, when she was on Fox, let's watch a little bit more of this. I mean, this is just, I'm watching this. I'm just like, I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Right.
Just completely trying to excuse it all. But let's continue. Oh, it gets better, people.
Actually do some construction work with him, and he would counsel him and work with him and hopefully get him straightened out.
Some people have said, why did they wait? Why didn't they go to the authorities or go for the counseling at the very first time he came to you?
You know, I talked to somebody that worked at one of those juvenile youth sex offender facilities, and he described how they actually take care of these situations down there, and the success rate is not very good. And so we felt like that going from a perspective of really reaching his heart first would be important. And so that's the reason we sent him down to Little Rock to work with this man.
Did legal really ever pop into your mind? Like, we may have legal obligations?
You know what? As parents, you're not mandatory reporters. The law allows for parents to do what they think is best for their child. And so we got him out of the home and we sent him down to this place. And that was really probably the best decision that we made through this whole process, because it was at that place. This is the first time Josh had ever been out of the home.
Mm-hmm. He's 15 at this point.
He just turned 15. And it was at that point that he came to the end of himself. And God really worked in his life. And matter of fact, he broke. And he went and asked God to forgive him. He went back and asked those that he had offended to forgive him. But we felt like the last jurisdiction of who he needed to make things right with was the law.
And we're going to get to that in 1 second. The subsequent incidents after the first one involved daughters who were awake, or at least a couple of them.
There was a couple, yeah,
so
and they didn't really understand though.
Yeah,
what happened, because we wouldn't talk to him.
It was more of his heart, his intent. He knew that it was wrong, but in theirs, they weren't even aware. It was like, you know, it wasn't to them. They didn't probably even understand that it was improper touch.
Oh my God, I can't even. What in the actual hell are these two lunatics talking about? They are making excuse after excuse after excuse for this piece of crap son to do this to their daughters.
Well, notice all the focus is on him. Well, we're not mandatory reporters. Those were your daughters who are the victims.
Almighty.
Not that you shouldn't report anybody he molested, but are your daughters.
Exactly. Yeah, you shouldn't report a single person if he's molesting them. Why should you? But yeah, I mean, your own kids, for God's sake.
But it's all about him and his heart and his intention and what he meant. And we talked to him, and if you didn't know, this is their golden child, their golden boy. You know it after this interview.
Yeah, you know what? This is why this is so good to go over right now. And thank you for reminding me, Lil Texan. Sure. I never would have remembered this. And I want to thank Lynn Jen too for the super chat. Thank you so much. And I forgot to thank Mick Spunky the other night for the super chat. Thank you guys so much. That money goes to DNA Solves to help families get the DNA testing they need for the remains that hopefully can be identified and they can bring their loved ones home. But let's continue now. And everybody, I just, again, if I'm a little shook up, it's because I'm so angry at this. I just can't believe it. But let's continue, shall we? I'm trying to remain calm. Here we go.
I know that the ultimate one, before you really got help, involved a very young daughter, and I'll avoid the age because I don't want to identify anyone specifically, but a single digit. I mean, what was that like for you to hear? You know, one, you must have thought for some time, this is a pubescent boy. I don't know what he's going through, but he's testing. But when it moves to a young daughter.
Right. At that point, that's when we pulled him out of the house and we said, he can't be here. And so we pulled him out, and then he went through that working with that man.
Yes,
and
so he goes
really,
to the counseling.
Yes.
And then when he was done with the counseling, and this is not like a licensed therapist. It's somebody, a Christian-based,
but I tell you what,
treatment facility.
It really had a huge impact on his life. Mm-hmm. And that was the turning point in his life. And this man really reached his heart.
And before Josh went away, you know, in the period where the girls knew, and he knew, and you knew, when you're living in the house together, what was that like? I mean, what was the dinner table like?
Well, we tried to make things as normal as we can, but also, you know, Michelle and I both were keeping an eye on Josh, you know, all the time, and watching his behaviors, watching his attitudes.
And prior to him leaving, were you concerned for the safety of your daughters?
Well, we definitely put safeguards in our home.
Yes, and we also talked to our daughters and reminded them about wrong and right touch, mm-hmm. and about if anybody ever touched you in a wrong way, for you to come and tell your mom.
Immediately, we tell them that you have a safe place to share your heart. And so we were trying to protect and watch and make sure that their hearts were safe, they had a safe place to talk, and at the same time putting boundaries and safeguards up in our home.
Yeah, we weren't going to give up on Josh.
Up next, the terrible choice these parents faced: how to protect their daughters without ruining their son.
Well, yeah, because that's what you need to do, is you need to protect the guy that's abusing your daughters first before you do anything else. Stacy, Lil Texan, help me before I lose my mind. I mean, I can't even. I can't even.
You know, this kind of thinking where it's completely lacks, any sense of what would you say? Common sense, ethics, right and wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Reality, any kind of reality. We see this kind of thinking every day in other areas, but this takes the cake.
This is unbelievable. Whoops, hold on. I want to get Jesse Roblin's comment up here. Let the son deal with the consequences of his actions. Exactly.
So how would Jim Bob and Michelle feel if she's out at a restaurant and somebody starts rubbing her over her clothes in certain places?
Exactly.
Would that be okay? Well, they're not mandatory reporters, so
there you go. That makes it all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No question.
And that over the clothes thing, I have heard, do not know, not a lawyer, certainly not a lawyer in Arkansas, but I've heard that there is something in Arkansas law that might be what they picked up on that years ago when this was all happening with their evil first son, that it was like a lesser offense in Arkansas, or maybe just at that time. Now, my understanding is that even if that's true, that is not the case in Florida. So Joseph, who's facing serious charges in Florida and has already apparently made reference to whatever he has done being over the clothes, will not matter in Florida, I don't think, legally, fortunately. Also, Joseph was 25 years old, not 14.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they would even try, not that they have a show to save, but how they would even try to come out now and try to minimize and, claim, oh, he was just a curious boy. Well, Joseph was a married father of 2 children at the time of the known offense. So not a curious boy of 14 or whatever they're trying to say.
Are you guys ready for some more? I just don't want anybody's blood pressure to go through the roof like mine is right now. Are you okay to hear more? Hello? Are you guys
us?
Yes.
Us?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you're talking to the chat.
No, I'm talking to you two. And the chat.
Okay.
No, go for it.
Okay. I think we need to hear this. Absolutely.
Plus, what happened when Josh came home from his treatment. Watch.
As we're all weeping the next day, and for days and days, I was saying, Josh has done some very bad things, and he's very sorry.
No, please.
When the Duggars discovered what their teenage son had done in the family home, they were faced with several questions, including what they should tell police and how to protect their children. And that's where our story picks up. Did it feel at all like a Sophie's choice? I have to protect my daughters at the expense of my son, or vice versa?
I think it was a situation where we felt like our son's heart had gone astray. I think Jesus shared a story about he had 100 sheep and one went astray. And there he was. He took care of the 99, but he also went after the one that went astray. And so as parents, we still love Josh and we loved our other ones, but we're going to protect those that are in our hands. But also we're going to make sure that Josh doesn't make any wrong choices.
It doesn't mean that you're not a good shepherd. Jesus is a good shepherd, but he went after that one that went astray. And so I think as parents, we were trying to do the best that we knew how to help this one and protect these. And I feel like through that, as we came to that point where, Josh shared of, improperly touching the young one, we were devastated, and we said, we've got to send him out of the home. He has got to go and seek counsel and get help.
It is not a normal voice.
It was like that evening when they left and took him that same day. He just was weeping and shared immediately what he'd done. And so we were weeping, and the little one was like, what's wrong? Why is Daddy and Josh leaving? And as we're all weeping the next day, and for days and days, I was saying, Josh has done some very bad things, and he's very sorry.
Yes, but I was thankful. The ray of hope was that Josh had came and told us, and then his heart was still soft, because we wouldn't have known about any of these things if he hadn't came and told us.
All of it you learned from Josh.
And actually, none of the victims really knew about this or understand what he had done.
What about that, Jim?
Until we went and told him.
As a parent, did you feel guilty when you learned that his behavior had continued and other girls in the house had become victims?
Yes. I think as parents, you feel like a failure when one of your kids does something wrong. You feel like, if I had done more training or maybe something else, that this wouldn't have happened. Mm-hmm. But the truth is that kids will make their own choices, and they will make their own decisions, even though you've taught them what's right and wrong.
I'm asking you more as the father of your girls than as the father of Josh. It must have been very hard to look at your little one and know that the behavior had been ongoing, as difficult as your position was.
Right. I was so thankful, though, that Josh came and told us. And our girls, even though this was a very bad situation, as we've talked to other families who've had, other things happen, a lot of their stories were even worse.
And just to clarify, it was 4 daughters and there was a babysitter outside of the family?
Yes.
Okay. And you notified her about the incident?
Yes. He called her up and asked for forgiveness, and she didn't know that he had done anything either. Oh. So it was more like just a fondling touch while they were asleep, and for most of them. And there was 2 other incidents that were when they were awake. And it was just a bad thing. And it was something that we would like to forget.
Let me look back up to the therapy, because you sent Josh to this treatment center.
Yes.
But was there more therapy for Josh and or the girls?
Yes. What happened was when Josh came back from Little Rock, and we felt like the last step was to make things right with the law because he had broken the law. And so we took him down to the local police station, actually the closest one to our house, and it was Arkansas State Police headquarters, and walked in and talked to a man there and told him.
Let me stop you there.
Yes.
Well, what was that like? I mean, how do you make the decision as a parent to bring your child to law enforcement and turn him over?
We felt like it was an important step for Josh to confess to the police what he had done because he had broken the law. And we felt like if we didn't do this, that this would be something hanging over his head the rest of his life.
But was it terrifying?
It was very terrifying.
What was that like? Were you worried, Michelle, that he wasn't going to emerge out of that law enforcement
We didn't know
facility?
if they were going to arrest him at that point or what they were going to do, if this was going to open up an investigation for a whole family, or what was going to happen.
And now we were waiting to hear, were they going to come serve a warrant, come take him away? We didn't know what they were going to do.
Well, since the Duggar story broke, there have been a lot of accusations that the family went out of its way to skirt the law and keep their secrets quiet. We'll dig into that when we come back. How did you choose the person to whom you would surrender him?
Okay, we're just going to play a little bit more because my blood pressure can't take it. But, and McSpunky, thank you so much. That is so kind of you, my dear. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lil Texan, how many more boys do the Duggars have?
I was answering that in the chat. There are 10 total sons.
10?
10 sons, 9 girls.
Should authorities investigate all of them? I don't. I mean, I would think so.
So far, only one of these other sons has publicly spoken out, which is interesting. He actually spoke out after Josh's trial, or maybe his actual conviction, and recently last week. He's the only son so far, and that's Jason Duggar. I don't know that I would have seen that coming. Don't even know a whole lot about Jason Duggar.
Right.
But it's interesting because he's one of the younger sons. Obviously, he's younger than both Josh and Joseph, and he's the only one so far. It's always been either Josh's direct victims, the sisters who were actual victims,
right,
saying something, publicly, or, sometimes the parents. So I don't know. I mean, and I don't know that they have probable cause to investigate 8 more sons right now, but
right.
I think you have to be aware that this may not be the last that we'll ever hear from a Duggar son.
Okay. Well, we're just going to play just a little bit more of this, and then we're going to move up to current events here, and also actually current events, and we are going to play a few little snippets from the old Duggar show. I can't remember. It was called 14 Kids and Counting, and then something else. Again,
17 Kids and Counting, 18. Yeah, they just kind of kept going.
And then, like I said, her uterus was like a clown car. It just kept opening up and plopping out. Just boom, boom, boom. She stood up. Time she stood up, one kid.
It's really interesting watching Megyn Kelly keep trying to get them to talk about the daughters and what they did for them.
Yeah.
And it's just Josh.
Because he is the main person in their life. He is the number one son.
He still is.
Yeah.
He still
absolutely.
is the number one son.
And this is all before what he was arrested for and is in prison for now. So let's just play a little bit more of this, and I'll put the link in chat. I'll also put it in the description. So let me get to it. Here we go.
Welcome back to our exclusive sit-down with the Duggars. Since the story broke about Josh Duggar molesting young girls a dozen years ago, the tabloids have suggested this family went out of its way to hide its secrets, starting with how the family first decided to approach the police. How did you choose the person to whom you would surrender him? Because there's been some question about whether you chose a friend, someone who you knew would go easy on him.
Yeah. Now, I had a towing business for years, and so I did know a lot of the officers around here. But we went into the Arkansas State Police, And
at police headquarters.
At the police headquarters, walked in, this man was there. We went in and talked to him and said, hey, my son has something that he needs to share with you. And we actually took a witness with us. We went in and sat down, and he shared everything.
He told it all.
He told everything. And we had no idea that what that officer was going through on his own.
So the audience knows that officer is now in jail for 56 years for child pornography charges. Did you have any idea he was involved in any of that?
We had no idea.
That came out years later. I mean, we were like shocked to read that in the.
So to critics who say, oh, they chose that guy because they thought he'd be sympathetic.
I didn't know anything about this guy besides that he was an officer there at the headquarters.
And now from prison now, when he's serving for child pornography, he says, well, he only told me about one incident, and that's why I didn't pursue charges.
I was questioning why in the world would he say that? Maybe he could get out on parole or something sooner, because he actually violated the law in this case himself by not reporting it.
The bottom line is you went to a law enforcement official, you reported it. Josh told him what you say, he told him everything.
Everything.
5 victims.
In fact, we took a friend with us because we wanted to make sure that we had a witness that would that would verify that we had shared everything.
I know you've said that he gave Josh a stern lecture.
He did. What he did.
I
didn't know what he was going to do.
Of God in Josh.
Yes.
And
did he warn him that the law could come after him?
He said, and if you continue down this path, you're going to destroy your life and you could end up in prison.
When that was over, and you think it's over, I assume. You thought.
We didn't know. I mean, a few weeks went by, a few months went by, and
you're waiting, and when the
Yes.
doorbell's ringing, you're wondering whether someone's there to arrest him?
And then later, there was somebody that called the hotline and said that the Duggars had reported this before, but...
That's right. But we're going to get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
But first I want to ask you about the counseling, because the counseling Josh got in that treatment center, was that the only counseling he ever received? And what about your daughters?
No. Josh actually went and had complete...
professional, yeah.
What did you say?
The real licensed therapist counseling?
Start over.
All of our children receive professional counseling, including Josh, yes. After this, all of our children.
What about your daughters? Mention your daughters.
Professional counseling, including Josh, who paid for his own counseling himself.
From an accredited professional counselor.
Did you feel, when Josh had been through all of this, he had gone to the Christian-based treatment program, he had gone through counseling, he had gone to the police, and he emerged back into the home. Did you feel that he was a threat still? Or did you feel
Not at all.
that he could be trusted at that point?
Not at all.
Did you ever worry that the treatment didn't work, especially with so many young children in the house?
No. Josh was a changed person. And you
And we still had those safeguards in place. I mean, it's like there were a lot of things that changed in our understanding as parents with, this first child, first son, to come to this place in his life. We're like, there's things that we've learned even since then that I think, you know what, we don't let boys babysit. We don't let, they don't play hide and seek together. Two don't go off and hide. I mean, there's just a lot of things that we put in place, and we said, you're not alone in a room with someone else. You always be out visible, and little ones don't sit on big boys' laps or people that you don't know, or even family members, unless it's your daddy, and so there's boundaries that we've learned.
Well, one of the big questions this week, how did the tabloids learn the Duggars' secrets when they were supposed to be in a sealed juvenile record? When we come back, the Duggars will share what they think, and they will answer this. What would make you launch a reality TV show about your family, given this past?
Yeah, I want to fast forward to that question. So hang on, let's see if we can get to that question. Maybe is this it? Let's see.
Okay, so it's all behind you for all intents and purposes. And then in 2008, you launched a reality TV show. What would make you launch a reality TV show about your family, given this past?
Back early on, it was after all this was taken care of in 2002, 2003. We actually had a magazine that came to Michelle and said, hey, can we do a story about your family? And we said, yes, that would be fine.
But are you thinking at all wait, this might not be a good idea, because when you bring cameras into your home, they tend to discover things and people get more interested in you.
We had nothing to hide. We had taken care of all that years before. And when they asked us to do the reality TV show, all this had been taken care of 5 years before. And we had a clean bill of health from the state. We had said you'd gone through counseling. You had told the police.
Did any of the girls, or did Josh say, whoa, hold on, Mom and Dad, hold on?
We had no fear because everything was taken care of. And that was a suit. That was actually a sealed juvenile record. Mm-hmm. And they had told us that all this stuff was done as a juvenile. This was all stuff that was sealed. And this is stuff that under law, there's no way that this could ever be brought out.
Did you live in fear that it might come out?
I don't know that we lived in fear, because we'd all resolved it. It had been forgiven. We moved on with life.
When you heard that in late May, that the story had broken, that you hadn't been given a heads up by any of the official police involved, that they were going to do this, what was your reaction?
I said, God, I know that there's a lot of families out there that are hurting. And you know what? This isn't something we wanted to come out. But if people can see that Josh, who did these very bad things when he was a young person, that God could forgive him for these terrible things, then I hope other people realize that God can forgive them and also make them a new creature.
Was there any motivation that you know of for this police chief to want to hurt your family?
I'm really not for sure.
There must be an agenda.
I'm not sure if there was a bribe or if there was some kind of personal agenda or something.
It definitely wasn't to be caring about the victims.
Had you had any prior dealings with her?
I think Josh had talked to her one day at a meeting, and he said hi to her and stuck out his hand, and she turned and wouldn't talk to him. She was getting ready to retire, and just even a few weeks ago, she said, I'm getting ready to retire, and there's a few things I want to do before I retire.
You think you were on the list?
I think I was on the list.
Oh, well.
Any chance of you suing her or the city for this disclosure?
We're talking to some attorneys about that right now, and we'll see.
Leave it. Okay. That's enough. That's all I can take. And again, Lil Texan and Stacy, Megyn Kelly did a fantastic job of trying to get them to talk about their daughters, and they just kept bringing it around to Josh. It was all about Josh, and this has all been solved. And hey, why not start a reality show? Because the program should have been, the court document should have been sealed, so they weren't worried. But whoever leaked them, good. I'm glad they did. I'm absolutely glad they did that. So, anyway, Stacy, final thoughts on that interview? Any?
I don't even know what to say.
How about you, Lil Texan?
I'm kind of amused and horrified at the chat right now, because I know that it's driving half of your audience away, but it's also inspiring others to rage clean. So
yeah, I know exactly.
It's good and it's bad, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know it's all horrible stuff, but it is kind of a good refresher on what we're about to see happen, part 2 with Joseph. And don't forget, Josh is, coming back to court in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, going to try. And that he's coming back because he lied to the court about turning in documents, and he claimed that he turned them in a timely manner, and he put them through the prison system post office, and making all these claims. So the judge is like, okay, you're claiming you did all this. Let's have a hearing on it. I bet that shocked him.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow morning if we figure out or find out who Joseph's lawyer is, or at least who his lawyer is at the moment.
Yeah.
Or if they're going to get a 2-for-1 special, 2 pedophile sons for the price of one with R. Kelly's lawyer.
That's too funny. And let's see who's the guilty 1, 2, 3. I agree with you about Megyn Kelly. I am not a fan of hers at all. I think she did a good job here. I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan of hers, but honestly, at least with that, she was trying to
She was
get
trying. Yes,
the daughters to be mentioned. And granted, later in
exactly.
this interview, she does wind up interviewing, you know, Jessa and Jill, but she's trying to get these parents to acknowledge that the victims were their own daughters and what did you do for them? And they're just, oh, well, they were included too. But mostly it
Yeah,
was Josh, you know. So
exactly.
it's
Oh,
just, it's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
even she doesn't have to be a great interviewer, but even she was trying to get them to. And then what about when Jim Bob says, well, you know, all our friends, you know, they've had way worse things in their family. Well, who are you hanging out with?
Yeah, what the hell? And why are you talking about it? And are you telling us that maybe these kids have been arrested or not, or
And you're
there's
letting
been a
your children
play
around
with
those
them?
families
Yeah,
as well?
yeah. When he said that, I'm like, again, the disconnect of this family from the reality of the real world is something completely amazing. You know, it really is. So thank you again, Little Texan, for reminding me about that interview because I had completely forgotten. Okay, let's fast forward. Now, tomorrow there is going to be the hearing for Joseph, and this is for Florida, what he's charged with in Florida. Do you have the charges handy, Little Texan, by chance?
It would be lewd and lascivious behavior, and the victim is under 9 years old.
Right. And
Um, yeah, this will be his first hearing in Florida because he just got extradited from
right. And
Arkansas.
so do we know what's going to happen? Is this going to be a 10-second hearing? Is it going to be a long one? Do we have any idea?
It just said that he will appear, you know, remotely by Zoom or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it will be quick, but I think they might have to at least identify who's representing him or if he has representation or something like
Right.
that. Not completely sure. We do know that his wife, Kendra, is being represented by the Duggar family attorney, Travis Story, who
Mm-hmm.
apparently represents them for everything from real estate law to federal CSAM charges. He's a
Jeez.
lawyer of all trades, apparently.
Good Lord, I
Um,
guess.
yeah, so he'll be representing her in Arkansas, but I have no idea who Joseph will have in Florida.
It's going to be interesting. And I'm debating whether to do a live stream tomorrow. I kind of don't want to do one if it's going to be 10 seconds of not guilty and then he's gone, you know.
I
But
mean, I presume he'll have many more court dates to come. But
yes,
yes, it's interesting because Florida is not Arkansas, and Florida is already, you know, telling us they're going to live stream this.
yeah,
So,
that's good. So we
yeah.
can, and I'm going to talk a little bit about too about why it was the Duggars that picked up Kendra and not her family. And her family, Kendra's family, I have not heard anything from them. Have you, Little
No,
Texan?
they're not particularly active on social media, but no, I haven't.
Well, but wouldn't you come out and defend your daughter? I mean, something like this, you'd come out and say, hey, we love our
Maybe.
daughter. She did nothing wrong. Well, maybe, but unless maybe they think she did something wrong. We don't know. We don't
I
know.
mean, there's also a big rift between them and Jim Bob that's gone back several years over some property.
Yeah,
And there's also the fact that I don't know how financially dependent any of them are on the Duggars because the
there you go.
Caldwells are very, very poor.
Yeah.
So
So,
I don't know if they're, for a time they were living in one of the Duggars properties, but that was a
right.
while ago. So it's just kind of hard to say.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna go back in time, and this is a clip about blanket training, and that is the horrible way that Michelle would train her children. Like you put them on a blanket in the middle, and then you put a toy within just barely with not within their reach, just barely. And when they move to grab it, then you hit them and make them stop. It's basically blanket training. And then I was watching this other video where this woman was trying to explain that that's not blanket training at all. They're trying to make it look bad, and it's just not bad. Well, this is the blanket training they used. Whether there's other blanket trainings, I don't know, but this is what the Duggars use. So this is from A Nanny's Life, this clip. So we're going to play this real quick here. Let me hit share screen. Here we go. And some of this is, I think, from Shiny Happy People, if I'm not mistaken. So here we go. Here we go.
Blanket training. You put the kid on a blanket, probably 6-month-old, and you put something they want just outside of reach off the blanket. And when they go to reach for it, you hit them. And if they continue to reach for it, you hit them again. the idea is you're breaking the rebellious spirit they are born with.
Breaking their
So
spirit.
blanket training was also covered in Michelle Duggar's book.
I would focus on blanket training, calling out, okay, boys, it's blanket time. Oh, isn't this fun? Come pick a toy so we can have blanket time. A little bit of practice. Obey mama. Sit really still. Look at me with big old smile. I want to see that smile now. No wiggles. Be still.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Again, this is A Nanny's Life. I'm going to put the link. I just love this woman. She's great. She does a lot of shorts. So there it is right there in, whoops, hold on. Ignore that one. I'm going to delete it because I got it all screwed up with a comment. Just a second here. Delete. Here it is right here. There you go. Oh, okay. I mean, Lil Texan, do you want to comment on that? Just the way Michelle was talking.
No, it's like something straight out of a horror show. Even
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Oh,
yes.
ugh.
You
It's that
said it
instant
perfectly.
obedience. I'll have to look for one of the clips for a future show, where she talks about instant obedience and claps her hands really hard. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I mean that noise would be frightening too. You know, it'd be
Yeah, and
very frightening.
they hit him with glue sticks usually because
They
it doesn't
do?
leave a mark. Yeah, it's not like a lasting welt. They actually, that's in the Pearls book, to train up how to train up a child, which is basically a child abuse manual.
Ugh.
They recommend different things to use to whack your kids with, and glue sticks are a really popular one.
Wow.
Oh no. Oh God, that's awful. That is just awful. Now we do. Oh, go ahead, Stacy.
I was thinking about this because we talked about it last time, and I'm like, I don't understand what the purpose is of blanket training. But after watching that video the other day, I'm like, okay, so they say, like you said, they're breaking their spirit. And
Sure.
what they're doing by doing the blanket training is called conditioning. So they're conditioning them to completely be obedient, I guess is their
It's
point.
instant obedience, and it's also getting rid of any curiosity. People are naturally
Yes.
curious. We come out of the womb that way. And you're not going to want to have a kid who wants to learn and be curious and have their own thoughts and think, look for answers to questions as they get older. You don't want them questioning anything.
Yeah.
You got to, everything has to be rooted in fear.
And
Otherwise, they might start asking questions and wondering.
wow,
Exactly.
and in the process, you're completely destroying self-confidence, independence,
And really your bond with
everything
that
else.
child as well. But yeah,
Wow.
you're
Wow.
destroying all of that, and that's the goal. And that's how you
Wow.
keep them compliant. I mean, among other ways, food deprivation, sleep deprivation. There's a lot of things that these cult families do, but yeah, they start with that.
Yeah, I see it now because the other day I'm like, I didn't understand what their purpose was. But after watching that video, it hit me what it was, It's just, it doesn't, with us and our children, we want them to be independent, curious. We
But
Yes.
want them to
but
build
remember
their
that these people
self-confidence,
also
you
talk
know.
about what blessings children are, but they also talk about what evil sinners children are. And by children, I mean like infants. So
Wow.
this is the kind of belief system. I mean that we love babies. Babies are amazing, more babies, but they're evil. They can sin. They're manipulating you. That's the whole Pearl philosophy too. Training your child because your kid is manipulating you at just a few months old. It's
Right.
not
Oh my
hungry.
gosh.
It's not
Oh
crying
yeah.
because it's hungry. It's crying because it wants to manipulate you.
Right.
Exactly.
It
Yes.
can't
Because they.
possibly be because it has a need that needs to be met, and that's the only way it can
No,
communicate or
because
anything.
that's
Right.
inconvenient for the parents. And then
And
how
there
could
you
they
go.
keep having child after child after child?
Wow.
Exactly. Oh.
So
Oh. Oh.
bad.
Oh
No
God.
wonder I don't study this stuff. This, gosh, that's so
We're going to
bad.
move on to the lighthearted topic of Nancy Guthrie soon, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh
We're
gosh.
almost to. Yeah.
Palate cleanser.
Oh my God, you guys. We're almost to Nancy Guthrie. I just have a little bit more to play because you know what? Here's the thing. It is important that we remember. It's very important we do not forget because
This is still going on.
TLC. Well, that's what I was just going to say. It's still going on. TLC normalized this family, and it is still going on. And there are families that follow this. What is it? IBL? Is that
IBLP. Yep.
IBLP? They're still
Oh, there
following the
absolutely are. Yes.
yeah. And they need to be they need to be retrained. They need to be blanket trained as adults to stop listening to this crap. Now, get this. Here are the girls, because they have to keep their hair long. Here they are from, this is a clip. And again, this is from, is it Kyla? I apologize. It's Kyelluh. I love her. She's fantastic. She does a lot of the Duggar clips. And I'm just going to play a clip from one of her videos, and I'll put it in the chat and in the discussion as well. But how do we, ladies, how do we decide that we would pronounce her name? Kayla?
I think Kyla, maybe. I'm not sure
Kyla.
either.
I think I agree with her on Kyla.
Yeah, I think it's Kyla. She's wonderful. But here are the Duggar girls talking about the they're giving themselves a perm. And I want you to listen to one of these comments. I think it'll jump out at you like it did me. Here we go.
Which the girls explain why they do their hair the way they do. Not because, well, in the wisdom booklets, it gives you a guide as to how to get your hair done. But Daddy loves the girls' long hair.
Yeah, it's Daddy.
Creepy.
We are doing Ginger's perm. Her hair's getting straight, so it's about time for her to have another perm. When we perm our hair, it takes about hours, depending on who has thicker hair, length of it. That makes a big difference. How you're doing it, what size rods you're using. Gina was the first one to get a perm. And then I wanted one because she got one. And so I got one. That says it's natural. When a friend showed us how to do perms, Gina and I got perms first. Then Jess and Ginger got them later. Have done professionally could cost like $200. But since we've learned how to do it ourselves, just buying everything probably around $11. Saves on money because we don't have to go and get it done where it costs like hundreds of dollars for the length and width thickness of our hair. It's hurting. Something is pulling from us.
Where does the Duggar hairstyle come from?
Our hairstyle, people ask us, why do you all look the same? I do all the girls in school look the same. My dad likes long hair. And so we've tried to keep our hair long. And so it's figuring out what to do with it.
I just find that to be so unbelievably disturbing that their dad would like their hair. It's almost like he wanted to feel some sort of attraction towards his daughters. It is the most bizarre thing to me. They're also not allowed to cut it, but when they reach a certain age, like when they're basically all washed up and old, now they can cut their hair because they're no longer appealing to these nasty men who obviously like to look at younger women. And that's really what it comes down to, is that they want to look at younger women and like what they're looking at and want them to look a certain way. And when that's your own dad doing that, that is extremely messed up.
That is really messed up. And again, I just put the link in chat, and the name of the come on, what the heck? The name of the channel is, now I can't get this. Oh, come on. Where's the little doodad? Oh, there it is. Hold on. This is Kyla. Kyelluh, and I put the link in chat. I'll put it in again, and I'll put it in the description. She does a great job, everybody. Please go and subscribe to her channel and watch the all of the other incredible videos she has on the Duggars. And she did a great video about why Michelle Duggar went and picked up Joseph's wife from jail, and she was crying. And also, it looked like there were bullet holes in the car. Did you see that, Little Texan?
Yeah, the thing with the Duggars is they are very proud of getting their cars from car auctions.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
And
there
that
you
was
go.
a big thing on the show. One of Josh's main, well, only jobs really, until he went to Washington, D.C. for a hot minute, was doing the used car lot. And so they would have a lot of plot points about, here go the boys down to the car auction to pick up really cheap cars and resell them. So it could be a more interesting story, but I would just assume it's just yet another rickety car they picked up from a car auction.
That probably was in some sort of,
who knows?
Gunfight or, who knows?
Could be.
Okay, there's one more little bit I want to play. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is a phone call between Joseph and his wife. Now, remember, she's been charged. Let me grab it here. She's been charged with, hold on, I've got those. Sorry, guys.
Someone pointed out, what I was also going to mention was that Bill Gothard, someone in your chat pointed that out as well, that he also liked the long, crunchy curls.
Yes.
He especially liked blonde girls. But I guess if you weren't blonde, the next best thing was at least have long, crunchy, permy hair.
Oh,
He also had a foot fetish.
oh,
It-
ugh.
you might notice the girls are always in sandals or open-toed shoes,
Yes,
basically in the show.
open-toed.
Yeah, that's a big
Absolutely.
part of it. Mm-hmm.
Now, Kendra Duggar has been charged with 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor, 2nd degree, and 4 counts of false imprisonment, 2nd degree. And they've said that it's because they had locks on the door, on their doors. Nobody knows that for sure.
We don't know.
And again, to be charged with this, like Kyla was saying, you don't have to be, strung up by the wrists and held by ankle chains to
No.
be considered, imprisonment. So it is enough just to lock them in a bedroom. And so they don't have any way to get out if there's a fire or something, I mean, it's bad. But this is the phone call. And you can see they're talking in code because they know they're being recorded. Okay, so this is Joseph Duggar and his wife. And we won't play the whole thing because it's about 20 minutes long. And then we're going to get to Nancy Guthrie, I promise, right after this. So here we go.
I've been spending a lot of time praying and reading the Bible. They got me a Bible in here, so I'm in solitary. So I'm only.
There's a brand new jailhouse phone call in the Joseph Duggar criminal case. We're going to analyze it, break it down, understand it 2 days after his arrest on child sex crimes charges. He apparently called his wife, Kendra, who was back. Yes, extra 1,000+ location. New development in the criminal case. While Joseph was locked up at the Washington County Detention Facility in Arkansas. I want to go through this latest call, what it means in terms of the pair's overall criminal cases, try to understand it. Now, Joseph reportedly called Kendra at 8:11 p.m. on March 20th. This is according to People. And remember, this is 2 days after he was arrested on March 18th on accusations that he sexually molested a 9-year-old girl back in 2020 out in Florida. But you know why that date is important, why March 20th is important, because that was the day that both Joseph and Kendra were charged in Arkansas. 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor in the 2nd degree and 4 counts of false imprisonment. They have 4 kids together. She was released on bond. He kept being locked up based on the Florida charges. So the timing there is key. And we believe that based on the Florida charges, right, there must have been some sort of warrant that furthered an investigation to see what was happening at their family home. In fact, the Tontitown police said on Facebook on the 20th, as a result of the continuing investigation, additional charges have been filed in this case against Joseph Duggar, age 31, and Kendra Duggar, age 27. Arrest warrants have been issued and served for the following misdemeanor offenses through district court. Misdemeanor, not a felony, lower level offense. Sometimes you're basically saying max 1 year in jail. So here you have 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor, 2nd degree,
Okay,
4 counts of false imprisonment, 2nd degree. And in Florida, lewd and lascivious where it fits, okay?
Sorry, guys, I should have this queued up. My fault.
But
here we go.
Bible, they
was booked. But now you have the phone call. Let's play a portion of it.
How are you?
I'm all right. I mean, I've been spending a lot of time praying and reading the Bible. They got me a Bible in here, so I'm in solitary. So I'm only.
Yeah.
I'm in the cell for 23 hours of the day. So, but.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like a 8 by 10 area, pretty small area, but I've been able to read a lot. I actually been resting some, but not sleeping great through the night. But
yeah.
But it's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you.
They also apparently talk about how Joseph is going to sign over belongings that he had with him when he was booked so that Kendra can get a hold of them. But then there's this part.
Did you hear that I'm out here with, did you hear where I'm at and everything?
I don't know. Should we say it?
I think that'll, well, I don't know. Maybe not. But they've got me a good place to stay that's very private.
Oh, praise the Lord. I'm happy.
Praise the Lord.
So,
I was hoping.
yeah, and they're taking.
Well, just.
So you're doing okay?
I'm trying to keep my spirits up, and I feel like reading the Bible has really been helpful to calm and not think about all the situations. So it's been uplifting. So
Oh, that's good to hear.
this one that I got, it's like some other NLT version or something like that, but it has a devotional in it that has some really good stuff. So.
Okay, that's all we currently have from the phone call. I don't know if there's more, but here's what I will tell you. I didn't hear anything about their kids, which again, may be related to the Arkansas misdemeanor charges, although you can arguably hear children in the background, which I'll talk about. But it is interesting there, when you, generally speaking, no discussion of their criminal cases as far as we can see, as far as we can hear. And you hear them be kind of cautious at one point about what they're saying. Not surprising. Not surprising, because there is usually a message before a jailhouse call that indicates that it's being recorded. And we all know how many times recorded jailhouse phone calls, nonetheless, you have criminal defendants who say things on them. And we all know that despite those messages, defendants say things. And those jailhouse phone calls, time and time again, have been used, have been admitted as evidence at trial in one way or another. So
that's true. Okay, and I put the link in chat, and thank you. That was Jesse Weber from Law and Crime. Okay, so there we go. Tomorrow, Joseph has his first hearing in Florida. We will have to wait and see. Okay, now let's go to Nancy Guthrie. Now, the good news is for us is Brian Entin has flown back to Arizona. And Stacy and Lil Texan, when Brian Entin is there, I feel like all is right with the world, that we're going to get the real deal, that he will be on the case, and we don't need to worry about a bunch of drama and a bunch of other things thrown at us that have nothing to do with the case. I just feel so much better when he's there. I mean,
I agree.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
No, I agree. I already watched both of his videos from today.
Yeah, they're great. They're fantastic.
It's a credible, trustworthy source. And in this case, that's hard to come by.
Yeah, very hard to come by. So now keep in mind what's going on with the sheriff, all right? He is facing a recall, which if they get enough signatures, and I think they will, I think he'll be recalled. He's also being basically forced to come and testify to the county supervisors under oath about lying about his past employment. He was suspended, what was it, 5 times? Or was it 8 times in 5 years? Or
8 times, but
8
I don't
times
know
in
the number
5
of
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 5 years. Yeah, I mean, do you know what you have to do to get suspended? I know one of them was he beat the hell out of a guy. He ended up in ICU when he was handcuffed. He was not a threat. Took his flashlight, beat the crap out of him. That should have been fired, done. Never a law enforcement guy ever again. So anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see. Now, with Brian Entin back in town, everybody was saying something's going on. Maybe. Now, Stacy, last night you sent me a link, and there was this big brouhaha in Pima County, right? And it was a suspect that had barred himself in some home or somewhere, but it was nothing. And everybody is freaking out, going, "Oh, this is him. This is it." No, it was nothing. It was just, I hate to say it, normal. You have these normal people that lose their minds and have a gunfight with cops, and they bar themselves inside a house, and everybody assumed it had something to do with Nancy Guthrie, and it didn't. It just didn't. So anyway, I just hold on one second. Okay. Okay. You know what, guys? I've got to address this. I'm sorry. I'm just going to address, and I can't say any more than this. We're going to come back to Nancy Guthrie. It's just driving me crazy.
Yeah, I'll help if you need it.
Thank you. Okay. The documents with Beth B and her estate were put out there today. And if you look at the date that my attorney filed the documents, I think it was in November. At the time, there was no will, there was nothing. That's why I filed to be the administrator. Now, The beneficiary, I can go into that, but that was all before this other will was filed. Okay. Then this other will was put into probate and I dropped it. I am not asking to be the administrator. I'm not asking to be the beneficiary. Now, I don't know if this shows up or not, but there was a court hearing that we had scheduled. We canceled it because this other will showed up. I am not fighting it going to the animal shelter at all. I'm not. And if you remember what I have said when we went on our field trips, I said the organization that gets this, it ends in a Hollywood ending. It is so wonderful. Did I not say that, Stacy?
Yeah, and I said the organization that needs this, I mean, they could really use this money. They really need it.
Exactly.
And
As
that's
soon
who we want to make sure it gets it. That's what all started all of this.
That's what started everything. We want to make sure that this organization gets everything. You know, I don't have to prove it. It's there. It's there in court.
You can't prove that it's the other way around. It is there in court. So if anybody understands the documents,
yeah,
you can read the dates. And
read
it's
the
very
date. You will
simple.
see I asked to do that. I asked to be the administrator and to be named beneficiary when there was no will. When this other was filed, we canceled the hearing. And now what we're working on is to make sure that the animal shelter gets all of Beth B's estate. That is what we are working on. And when you guys, when it is finally all revealed, you're so wrong, you don't even know it. And because you have no idea what's going on.
Well, I will say this too, because you said it before, so I can say it. But there were, okay, so Trisha had trust in a person and thought they were following somebody's wishes.
Yeah.
And then we found out that one document was deleted. And so the other one they'd hidden.
Yes.
And so what happened is she had to do what she did in the court to get her to put forward what
this
she
information.
had.
Yes.
Yes, because what she had done, remember the documents say, if you read them, she discovered fraud.
It says we have documented proof of fraud. If you read the document, okay, that's one of the reasons why I had to go, why I was scheduled to go to court, but we canceled it when this other will showed up.
When it finally got through and was put up front, when it was finally unhidden by this person, that was good. And now what's being done is working with the proper people that are supposed to get the money to make sure everything goes kosher.
To make sure that they get every bit of Beth B's estate.
That's
and
what's
again,
happening.
Yeah, there's so much more to it, guys. There's so much more. And but I am not, it just kills me because I'm sitting there going, they said I'm not fighting this.
Yeah, that's why the documents from your lawyer has ended.
Well, yeah.
If you read the dates, you know, you
read the date,
started this. And if you hadn't started it, that person would have continued stealing that money and the shelter never would have gotten it. And that's
never would
what
have gotten a cent. Never would have gotten a cent. But this will came out. This is an old will from 2011.
Which they were forced to reveal.
They were forced to reveal, right. For, again, reasons we can't go into, but they were forced to reveal it. And you notice nobody else's name is on that will, but the animal shelter. Interesting.
Think about that. Yep.
Think about it, people. Think about it. We are working to make sure that Beth B's estate goes to, every bit of it goes to that animal shelter. That's what we're working on. And actually, what she wanted was something else, and we can prove that. But this is an actual will that is legit, that was put together, and is, when I say legit, it was put together legally. There are other things that were put together that weren't as I don't want to get into it anyway.
Yeah.
This right now, if Beth B came back, this is how she would want it. No question. So
And
no,
just to say, I won't say this, but I'll just, in case you want to. And if it wasn't about money, there was something you turned down to make sure that this will went through. So
exactly.
yeah.
And we'll get into that. But you guys, when it all comes out, I can't wait, because you guys don't have any idea the living hell that we have been through to make sure that this happens. Okay. And remember, always remember, on that will, it's an old will. That wasn't the will that she thought she had. I can say that. That's not the will that Beth B thought she had. But it's the one that's there. Go ahead, Stace.
And that's the one that somebody didn't want turned in.
Yes.
But because now that it's turned in, that makes more fraud because of what they did before that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we are just making sure that that fraud is going to be exposed. That's what we're doing. Okay. But again, if they looked at the dates and saw, okay, well, Trisha asked to do this back in November.
Yeah.
And then this was posted in December or January. And oh, look, Trisha canceled her hearing about it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, isn't that amazing?
And what a shock. Yeah, what a shock.
Yeah, everything is now in the hands of the proper authorities.
Yes.
And they have taken over, and they have every single thing. So
they have everything, and maybe even more by now. So there you go.
Hopefully they're doing a good job. Yeah.
Exactly. And when I filed to be the administrator, there was no will at that time. There was nothing. And I had Beth B's wishes, what I knew she wanted, and I could prove it. Okay. When I did, look at the dates, people. I'm just going to say it one more time. And if you can't get it through your heads, I don't know. That was filed before this will was put into probate. We didn't know this will was going to be put into probate. As soon as it was, I dropped everything. I was just trying to make sure that Beth B's wishes were followed.
Yep.
And okay,
that this person cannot do this to any other families and screw over other people.
Exactly. And thank you, Love and
you have a history of settlements with people we have discovered. And that's when it took us a long time to really realize what was going on, and that this person was doing nefarious things, because Trisha just couldn't believe it. You know?
In fact, I didn't want to do anything. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't believe this. I just can't believe it. But anyway.
You can't let somebody go on and continue on hurting others like that. You can't.
Exactly. So no, I am not trying to stop the animal shelter. Okay. That was filed. I'm going to one more time. That was filed before this will was. As soon as that will was filed, we canceled the hearing that would have taken place, where I was going to try and be the administrator. Okay. I'm not asking to be the administrator anymore. I'm not asking to do anything. Let me put it this way. I've told my lawyer, I don't want to be the administrator, and we canceled the hearing. I don't want to, I'm not claiming the beneficiary. Definitely not claiming the not doing it. So,
and just one more thing, and that is the people that receive it now that somebody unhid this document. How grateful were they to you?
Oh my God, they were so grateful. They were so, because they would have had no idea. They would have no idea.
Hiding it.
Yeah. And let me tell you, Kay Lou says, if this was not legit, why would Trisha even address the trolls? Because these people are making my life a living hell is why. Okay. They're harassing me. They're harassing my friends. I'm just trying to put an end to it is all.
Well, and I'm just put the truth out there, because it's also terrible on Beth B's memory. That's upsetting.
It is. And to accuse us of stealing from her and all these wild accusations, I'm like, where the hell did that come from? She was the one that every day would get up and say, who can I help today? You know, what can I do to help somebody today?
There's a ton of people that she helped. And if you understood her past and what she did back in the day before Trish knew her or anything with other women, she's amazing. She has an
Yeah, she
amazing
really
story.
is.
I
She
can't
really
believe
is.
how, I mean, smart. I never would have thought of something like that. And she changed so many lives back then and
Yeah.
continued to do so. You know?
Exactly. Well, Chipmunk, I agree. That was why I didn't want to say anything, because it just adds fuel. But what I'm hoping, and again, I know this is stupid, I'm hoping that they'll understand when they look at the documents and see that I canceled the hearing that I was supposed to have because this document had been filed. And, you know, I'm not going to say anything else. Any trolls come in, they're gone. Okay. But keep in mind, this is all in the hands of the courts. It's in the hands of the right people. And we have turned over everything we have found. And I am not, never mind. Okay. So that's it. That's all we're going to do. Let's get into, let's see, I'm really confused where the will came from. Didn't they get it lodged? Well, Man Bat, what happened was Beth B thought it was taken care of.
Yes.
She thought it was all taken care of. She trusted somebody and thought it was all taken care of.
Yeah.
And and that's what happened. And so this older will came up, and I'm like, hey, this is great. This is where it needs this organization needs this, and we've got the proof. We've given everything to the authorities, and we're working on it now. So, and hey, if nobody did anything wrong, then everybody will be happy, and you know, we'll see. But I'm not going to say anything else. So, there you go. That's it, everybody. And any more trolls come in and ask about it, just ban them, okay? So, hold on one second. Well, yeah, there's nothing. It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. I don't know what else to say. So, but normally I wouldn't say anything, but it just, you know, they are harassing my chat, and it's hard to hear these lies about us, you know, and about Beth B. And you've never met her, you've never spoken to her, you didn't know her for years like we did. She's a wonderful, kind, caring woman. So anyway, that, and the court records show that I canceled my hearing about this.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay?
If that's, read all the court documents. I have all of them. Look at the dates on every one. Tricia is no longer going to court over any of this.
Well, now that's not quite true.
Well, I mean, if it comes up.
Right. I am not asking to be the beneficiary. I'm not asking to be the administrator.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
That's what's happening. Okay. There are some other things going on that I can't explain and I won't explain. But the animal shelter, God willing, will get all of Beth B's estate. And that's what we're working on. So there you go. And yeah, everybody just absolutely, yeah, let me get these trolls out of here, okay?
Yeah. One last thing. Read the date on the documents, people.
Read the date. Yes, please read the date on the documents. Read when I filed and when the will was filed into probate. And then I see, I'm assuming it shows that I canceled a hearing. Because remember,
we'll have to look and see that.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if it shows that it was canceled. I do know that the one document states how it's, you know, you going to court because you found fraud. So
right. But I mean, I'm assuming it, again, I don't know. All I know is I had a court date, and I said, my lawyer and I talked, and I said, no, this proper will has been filed. So let's go with this. Let's just go with this, and let's move on. So there you go. Anyway. So that's it. So I don't know what else to say. And Lil Texan, I'm sorry. You're probably going, oh my God.
I know. I was so bad.
I know. She's like, I need to get to bed.
No,
Trisha,
no worries.
Okay. Anyway, so that's it. I'm not going to say anything else. You guys can say whatever the hell you want. We've told the truth now. And again, there is more to it. So you may not understand it, but just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's something nefarious and horrible. Okay. So just know that. All right. Now let's, oh, thank you, Snap Crackle Pop. Good to see you, my dear. And thank you everybody for your support. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. So we're going to get now into, Nancy Guthrie. Let's see. Brian Entin did a good quick video about the door. See, this is what I don't understand in Nancy Guthrie's case. The doors. Now, Savannah Guthrie, I'm sorry. You know what I'm sitting here? I've got my little hair curler, you know, those little wire thingies that you roll up in your hair, dry. Yeah. I'm sitting here using it like a pointer and a baton. Sorry. Why? Okay. The doors were propped open, and we're going to see the doors in Brian Entin's video. Well, why? And why somebody was taking out the front door? It looked like she had a nosebleed. It looked like somebody had a nosebleed, and the droplets of blood were on the porch. I don't understand that. So when we come back, that's what I really want to talk about. So let me get this video here really quickly, and let me find it here. Here we go. I had it. That's not it. Oh, come on, Trisha. I just had it. Where is it? That's not it. Oh, come on. Come on. This got to be it. Yeah, of course, the last one I click on. That's it. Let me view this on YouTube. There we go. Hang on. And this is about 2 minutes. This is 2 minutes and 22 seconds. How about that? Here we go. Let me hit share. Oh, Aaron the Rock, thank you for the super chat. Super chat. She says, "Stay strong, Trish, and just keep on keeping on no matter what. You can do it." Thank you, thank you. You guys, I'm going to start balling. Thank you very, very much, my dear, and thank you for the super chat. That is so kind of you. So very kind. Okay, now here we go.
So I'm back in Arizona. This is Nancy Guthrie's house right here. It is day 58 in the search for Nancy Guthrie, which is crazy. It's now been almost 2 months. I flew in last night, flew to Phoenix, and then drove here. A couple of things that I'm going to be looking into this week. It's interesting what Savannah Guthrie said about the back doors being propped open. I think a lot of people assumed that there were sliding glass doors. But when we put our drone back up this morning and really focused on the back in a way we hadn't before, and it's not sliding glass doors. There are 3 doors in the back that I could see, and they're just regular doors with kind of panel windows. 2 appear to be like near the bedroom and living room, and then there's another door over near the garage. But Savannah said doors, plural, were propped open, so I would assume it's the doors right near the living room and bedroom there. But it was just kind of interesting to see the backyard and the back side of the house in light of everything that has come out about these back doors being propped open. Did the suspect or suspects come in the back of the house and then take Nancy out the front of the house? We still don't know the answer to that. Hey guys, so I'm back in Arizona. This is Nancy Guthrie's house.
Sorry,
right
just
here.
repeats. Okay. Anyway, so, and that was the drone from Brian Entin, and that's why they were able to get a picture of that. I don't understand it. I wish somebody could explain the theory here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we have a problem, everybody. Are you ready? Stacy? Stacy, where are you, Stacy?
Yeah.
Missy Motormouth, who we accidentally banned the other night.
No.
I have the biggest frog phobia. And is it my imagination because I hear frogs? Yes.
I was muted. You made me unmute. Now look, now she's traumatized. No.
Okay, well, de-traumatize her. We're so sorry. Stacy has frogs every spring come to her house, and we're used to them and we like them. And I'm so sorry that they traumatize you.
My kids had a pet toad. It recently died after about 8 years.
Are you serious? They had a toad for 8 years?
Yeah, we caught her in the backyard during the pandemic.
Oh my God. Well, it was probably
a good little toad.
It probably was thrilled that it had a safe house and food for that long. So anyway, Missy Motormouth, we are so very sorry. It won't be much longer. Yes. Yes, they're real. They're real. So anyway, so that, and Stacy will mute as much as possible, but we do love our frogs. Yes, we do. So anyway, I need somebody to help me understand what happened here. Why did these, and was it two people? Why did they have to prop open a door? Were they taking something in to carry Nancy out with? Were they, does anybody have an explanation, a theory? I would
It's a weird
love to
one.
hear. Do you have one, Lil Texan?
Not really a theory. I mean, so I have been thinking it was more than one person doing this whole caper, potentially
Mm-hmm.
two people, but maybe it was just one and he was worried that the door would lock behind him, but then why more than one door open?
I don't know.
Or maybe
Again,
they, to carry stuff out, they had left the door open because they intended to carry something out, so they couldn't open the doors with something in their hands.
maybe they thought they were going to get a TV or something big, and
Or
it didn't turn out like that, and their plans changed. Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, because you would think if it wasn't for the blood out front, you would think,
He
okay,
took her
they just
around the
took her
back.
out the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you'd think, because you wouldn't think somebody, if they were going to take somebody, they would take them through the front door where everybody's going to see, and people have ring cameras a lot of the time.
Exactly.
Unless something went wrong, she ended up out front and then ended up going through the back anyways. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I tend to think he entered through the back. He or they entered through the back.
Yeah.
No
And that's what it
question.
seemed like the FBI was checking out, because there were photos of them, from a helicopter, where they were going through the house, through the back door, like they were going through the perpetrator's route in. And it was the news station, and that's what they were saying. And it was the back doors, which, like, you said, I mean, that would make the most sense. Less visual there for others to see.
Or unless they were staging it so that when she was not at the house, people would assume she had wandered out with her doors propped open through the back somehow. I don't know. She could barely
you know
walk.
what? There you go.
So I don't know how far they thought she'd get.
Lil Texan, there you go. How about that was done to throw people off to think that she wandered out?
Of a staging type thing?
Yeah, it could have been a staging thing. That makes sense. Absolutely.
Exactly. All that's possible. Good ideas.
Very good ideas. Now, somebody said a dolly, and remember, that's what the Thoris said. The Thoris worked with these. I got to throw that down. I'm not using it as a pointer. The Thoris is, she worked with these horrid sex offenders as a prison guard. And she said this is what they talked about women Nancy's age and how they would do it. And she said they would use a dolly. And could it be maybe they want to bring a dolly in? Maybe they want to bring the garbage can in. It's horrible. I don't even like to say it because it's so horrific.
No, definitely possible. I was trying to think if they could dolly her out and then she was propped up in the front for a while, but that doesn't make any sense because she would have been bleeding the whole time, presumably.
Well, right,
so
exactly.
she'd be bleeding in the back too. So unless the injury happened suddenly when she was propped up on a dolly in the front doorway for whatever reason, waiting for a car or something.
I don't know.
But that's probably way too far-fetched.
I don't know.
Patricia,
my thing that makes me doubt that is the police said, there were trash can marks, and they can tell the difference between a dolly and a trash can. And then I've also never heard of a case where a sex offender or kidnapper took somebody out on a dolly.
Well, Trisha's contact has, though.
Yeah, the Thoris said that's absolutely what they would do.
About it. Yeah. See, my dad worked in a prison too. That's one thing. And all you have to do is look at cases and go back through and see if there are any where people did that.
Yeah. Well, she said that's
ones.
Right. That's what they do. They would tape the person and then they would have a van. Now there were no wheels like from a car in the backyard. Patricia Laughlin says the architect who was on, I think you said Ashley Banfield, the architect said the back kitchen door leads straight to her bedroom down the hallway. maybe what they thought was, okay, we're going to use this back door to get right to her. You go through the kitchen, get right to her bedroom. We're going to prop it open because we're going to go out the back and we're going to carry out a TV or whatever. And for some reasons, plans change. Like Kaylu said, that thing in that going up to the camera and, you know, pulling up those flowers and holding up, that was like plan B for some reason. But again,
maybe they couldn't get her out the back because she could barely walk. I don't know though, because I don't know the distances from her bedroom to the front door versus her, you know, her bedroom to the back door.
Exactly. And the Thoris, you're here. Oh, well, how you doing, my dear? Listen, hang on. I want to read what Mel Stiller said here. In my opinion, the predator's car was left in the driveway. That's why the guys needed to disable the doorbell camera. And you absolutely could be right. The Thoris, can you type anything in chat that can help us understand this, in your opinion, based on working with these types of horrific sex offenders for so many years?
Oh, wow.
So I know. Yeah, I think her ears were ringing.
We already did all the nonsense with the Duggars, and now there's more horror.
Gosh.
I know.
You know, my dad, when he worked at, you know, a couple prisons, but the last one he worked at where Tex Watson was and Herbert Bowling and stuff. He had I've met a few people, Ike Turner, and there were some others. But there's a section there. It's kind of like the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest section in a way. And he would actually have inmates come up, and one of them, my dad went up to him and to see what he was doing at the dumpster. He would sit there all day and wash the trash. And there's another one that went up to my dad with this envelope and said, do you know where, you know, Sergeant so-and-so is? My dad's like, no. He's like, please make sure. It's so important. He has to get this envelope. It's really important. My dad said it was like, it was a holy grail or something. He finally finds the sergeant, gives it to him. He opens it. It's an empty envelope.
It was empty?
Yep. There's some crazy stuff that goes on in prisons.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Four Sons' mom says, I keep thinking about as the guy was walking towards the front door, he looked up over his left shoulder. I felt like he was making sure they are both where they had practiced. I think you're probably right. It was probably two guys. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, guys. I don't know. So, but the Thoris, I don't think she can come on. I think not yet. But when you are ready, the Thoris, we'd love to have you on to talk more about this. And I know this is hard for you, as it is for everybody to talk about, because it's such a horrific thought. I don't want to think this. I want to think that she was, you know, if she had to be taken, she was taken for ransom and nothing else happened to her, you know. So,
Trisha, there's another case, and I don't know if it's on Websleuths. But anyway, I just heard about it the other day, but it happened in northern Arizona 2 days after Nancy Guthrie. And it's a 69-year-old woman who walks with a cane and has a heart condition.
Okay.
Who they can't find. So
really,
this may be very different. Obviously, northern Arizona is not Tucson.
What was her name?
What was her name? Carolyn Cosper. I just heard about it, I think, yesterday.
Carolyn. How do you spell the last name?
Cosper. Well, actually, she technically has a hyphenated last name. It's Legaspi hyphen Cosper.
Let me see if I can find her on Websleuths.
69 years old. I don't know. I think they're thinking she wandered off. But I think they also haven't been able to find her. And she walks with a cane. And she's been missing almost as long as Nancy.
Wow. That's crazy. I don't see it here. God, see, I hate this damn. Be under a missing person. I hate Bing. My computer here has Bing and I can't get off of Bing. I can never find anything. Let me see if it's on
I can't really find a recent.
And how long ago did she go missing?
February 3rd. And Nancy
went so it's right around the same time.
February 1st. Yeah, it would have been like 2 days later.
Okay, hang on. Let me get to the missing.
It's just odd. I mean, there are a lot of elderly people in Arizona, so, you know, it's likely just a coincidence. But, you know, 5'4", 120 pounds, white female, walks with a cane, has a heart condition.
I don't see it here.
It's a little, it's just a little strange. It's just one of those things that
It is
makes
a
me
little
wonder
odd
a little bit.
another older woman just vanished, but they
2
think
days
she
later.
wandered off, right?
I think so, but again, I wonder how far anyone like that can really wander.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You would think they could just find her. Now, is she the one that was connected also? No, that was New Mexico. Never mind.
Oh, the UFO
Eternal. Yeah,
guy.
the UFO people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not here.
Oh,
It
no
could
worries.
have a
I just
different
was
title.
thinking about
Oh,
it
that's
because when you
interesting.
brought up the, like a sex offender type.
Right. Right. And yeah, the Thor's put a name in chat of a sex offender, and we talked about it a few nights ago. The Thoris. Let me see if I can find the name here.
I've got it because I'm looking at.
Yeah, we did the Thoris. We did look it up, and we did talk about it. But I'm going to look it up again. Okay, and we even showed his picture. So it's Darren Martell was the one that I found it under. So hang on. Yeah, and this they talk about what Darren Martell, and they talk about what he did. So let's see here. RRELL. Okay, hang on. Let me take a look. Let me see if I can find it here using this dang Bing. I think I even read a story about it. Here it is. Let me make sure this is it. Yeah. Okay. This is it. Darren or Daryl?
Daryl.
Okay. Well, this is Darren. Is it Onisburg? Is that the name of the city? Because in this article, it's calling him Darren Martell.
Well, maybe maybe she had a typo in there.
Yeah, and it was 82-year-old woman's Ennisburg home. He's accused of breaking into her home and essaying her and murdering her in 2024. He's going to be tried in September. According to court documents, he was reported missing by the neighbors. He was. Let's see. She was reported missing. Her name's Martin. Was reported missing by the neighbors and found the following Sunday in a wooded area. They also say that Martell has a history of violence and has been the subject of the state investigations for allegedly abusing his partner. And the sister of his partner called Vermont State Police at the time of the murder, believing Martell could be involved. Now, he is accused of torturing all kinds of things, and I believe he used a dolly in the article that I read. Is that right, the Thoris? Did this guy use a dolly? I believe. I think he did.
She said in her chat, a dolly, and he set her body on fire.
On fire, that's right. Yeah,
he did burn it. Which now, also, there's a thing that gets me because you and I had talked on the phone about it being SA due to stuff I had read, before you talked at the Thoris and stuff, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't even think about that. So bad. But people that SA somebody in that person's home don't take the body with them typically. And that's.
But this guy did.
Strange thing too, yeah.
Right.
And that's where there's other questions that come in.
And I think
now if it was at their own home, they would get rid of it,
right.
Statistically. But at somebody else's home, they leave it there, usually.
Right. But that's what the Thoris said was that he used a dolly. Yeah. And again, so I think the point here's the point, everybody. It could be anything. Could, and that's what's so horrible. And I go back to this ransom note. Now, there's 2 ransom notes that they feel were legit ransom notes. Why in the world didn't they release just a segment, half of a sentence that was unique, or maybe the way they spelled something, just something that might trigger somebody's brain into going, well, that kind of sounds like that might be someone I know. Just like, again, I keep going on and on about it, but the Unabomber, he used to say, you can't have your, you can't eat your cake and have it too, or something like that, where the saying is you can't have your cake and eat it too. But he flip the words around. And he always used to do that. Well, he put that in his big manifesto in all of those words. You know, it was a huge manifesto. And his sister-in-law recognized it and called the FBI. And that's how they caught him. But again, it was something just really small. I think reading it, your brain would probably think it said, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You know, I think your brain would probably read it like that, even though it was flipped around. So there you go. Oh my gosh, you guys.
And that's my question about that, because I need refreshed. Who is it that said that they thought a couple of them were real, of the ransom notes?
Savannah.
It's the sheriff and Savannah Guthrie said it in the interview.
Yeah, she's not law enforcement or anything. She's a journalist, but him,
he did say that.
I don't trust him.
I don't either.
Any information he put out to me is sketchy. Yeah, and the first ones were text messages, and that was the guy that was, just trying to get money. That's horrific.
It is. I mean, how awful that the fake ransom note. It's like, really, you would do that to a family, you piece of crap, But I just feel the ransom note is, I just don't think it's connected. I really don't, unless it was an afterthought. Again.
Yeah, maybe.
But Lil Texan, and Stacy's heard me say this a million times, and so has everybody else. The sheriff, what he is doing is not working. He needs to do something else. And he needs to release more information.
He needs to resign.
Well, yeah, that's what he really needs to do.
There's nothing he can do now, information or not.
Oh, I agree. Now, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's beyond that for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Did I say Savannah in her interview, or did I say Nancy? I'm sorry.
You said Savannah.
Okay. No, Savannah.
I think Savannah.
People are just answering each other in the chat, I think.
Oh, they are? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I just assume when I see something like that I screwed it up, So
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Here's the thing too. In this Darren Martell case, he'd been living nearby the home of the victim.
Yes, he had. He had been living in a camper, I think, or some sort of vehicle.
That would make more sense about taking it with him.
Right. And the thing is, like the Thoris and I were talking, she said they should be looking at anybody that had been living with somebody of this, age and height and everything. A drifter, somebody that was working in construction.
Or visiting someone.
Visiting. Yeah.
And they've been doing that. Her disappearance occurred during the Tucson Gem Show, which is the largest gem show in the world, reportedly.
Right.
So there'd be all kinds of people from out of town, potentially people visiting family, not just people who are vendors or whatever, but just coming in to see the show. Who was there?
Good point.
Whose nephew, cousin, brother-in-law, whatever, was in town that weekend.
And according to neighbors and people, they have been asking, did you have people working on your house or anybody? So, yeah.
And again, is this, did they know that this was Savannah's mom? They may not have. They may not have known until they walked in and maybe saw a picture of Savannah, or not till later. And that's why they sent the ransom note, because they went, well, damn, she's got money.
I can get money. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, no money was ever paid. Nothing was ever paid. There was no.
Right. And now there's $1 million that she will pay.
Yeah. To bring her home.
And it's literally to bring her home, which is so unusual in cases.
Yes.
It's usually, leading to an arrest or leading to the safe recovery of, return of. This is literally, they'll take her body.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get $1 million.
Exactly.
It's wild.
Exactly. So anyway, that, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. Again, with Brian there, I just had a big sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Like, oh, good. Now we're gonna get the real story. We don't have to worry about, a bunch of craziness and a bunch of rumors. He will get to it. He's been trying to get with the sheriff forever, since his first interview with him. And again, if you missed it, the sheriff put him in this little tiny chair tried to make him look like a second grader behind, he's behind his big desk and there's Brian in this little tiny chair. And it's like, that's the oldest psychological trick in the book, man. And I was defending this guy for how long? What an idiot I am sometimes. I was saying, oh, he just didn't get how bad it was and he didn't understand. No. He just can't let go of anything. Like I've said before, he's like a toddler that is having trouble being toilet trained. He doesn't want to let any information go. And there's nothing he can do now. Nothing he can do, like Stacy said, to fix it. But, if I was him, I'd try. I'd start releasing all kinds of information. Because if he could solve it before the recall, that would be the key. That might change things. Maybe not. Maybe not. So
I just wonder if the FBI has iced him out, which they should.
Yeah.
As much
I
as
don't
they
blame
can.
him. Right.
At this point, I hope they're not really giving him a lot of actual information. I'm sure they have to at least pretend to update him, but
right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, I just think that if he came out and got some information out there, and like I said, that would lead to maybe bringing Nancy home before the vote happened, I don't think it would save him, but at least he'd be able to say, hey, I solved it before they recalled me. Again, he should, I don't know.
I'm sorry. Where's your person in one of your chatters is saying the doors were propped open by flower pots?
Yeah,
Where's that coming
that was Missy
from?
Motormouth. I have not ever heard of that. Missy Motormouth, where are you getting that? You know why? I sit there and ask a question and I expect to hear, oh, well, Trisha, I'll tell you where. No, we have to wait for an answer. Let me.
Banfield. Okay.
So
probably from Ashley's, she has 3 law enforcement sources, I believe she says. Yeah.
Yes, McSpunky, the sheriff is a weirdie. You're right. My grandmother would agree.
A weirdie.
In Lil Texan, my grandmother used to call me a weirdie. That's how much she thought of me. So everybody is a weirdie in our book tonight. Thank you, McSpunky. You're absolutely right. And hold on, I just got a text from somebody that might have some information that we need. Let's see here. What is this?
In her pupils in this, like you don't get the opportunity to see very often.
It's a Ramsey thing. As if my blood pressure's high enough. We'll just let go a little higher tonight.
Do tell.
Are we going to solve that case tonight finally?
Yeah, we can. We certainly can. No, it's a great one. It's from the those guys that, God, what are they called? They always do like body language and it's my gosh. Hold on. It's from the behavior panel. And it's an old one from the behavior panel. So I love those guys. They're great. I hope they'll be at CrimeCon this year. I really do. So, and Spam Mama, thank you for that kind comment earlier. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Well, I'll tell you what time is it? Oh, yeah, just perfect timing for our good friend across the pond to go live tonight. So, and thank you, the Thoris, for coming on tonight and helping us. Again, the Thoris worked with these monsters for many years in a prison. And she said she had to sit there and listen to them talk, and it was disgusting. And when she called and told me the theory, it just made me sick. I did not want to believe it. But it could be anything, guys. It could be anything. I just hope and pray that this is not literally a cold case, that we're not here next year. We're not here on February 1st doing an anniversary of where is Nancy Guthrie, So. Megyn, good to see you, my darling. And thank you for everything you do, Megyn.
She's smart. She didn't comment till the end of the show.
Yes, she's very smart. Very, very smart. Hey, oh yeah, it was Megyn that sent me the Ramsey video to cheer me up, because they think that Patsy is it wrote the note. So that does make me happy. So thank you. And if somebody could please put her link to her YouTube channel in chat, I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you. Thoris, you get some sleep, my dear. You take care of yourself, okay? Oh, Angela Conley says there's no thumbnail up for Ping. Oh, okay. I don't know why. Maybe he's not doing one tonight. I don't know. Or he's tired of putting one up and then we're going, 4 hours over. So, okay, everybody, I want to thank I can't tell you how wonderful our mods are, everybody. That would be Lynn Gen 2, also Moonlight View, Love and Coco, Four Sons Mom, Leisha Gallegos, and Detective's Daughter. Ladies, thank you so much for all your support. And today you've been especially supportive. Thank you so much. Stacy, thank you. And everybody in chat, thank you for your support. And Lil Texan, our Duggar Digger, you just jump on here with a moment's notice, and I can't thank you enough. Are you going to be watching tomorrow when Joseph goes on his live stream? Yep, should be pretty darn good. So we'll keep you updated on everything. And of course, we're going to be back here tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern on Websleuths YouTube Live. We'll see you then, everybody. Bye-bye.